The Selfish Path to Romance. Download Chapter 1 for free at drkenner.com and at amazon.com.
Mary, you're dealing with your grandson who has ADHD?
Yes. Hi, doctor. Thanks for taking my call.
Oh, a pleasure. Tell me what's going on with him and what your question is.
Okay. My question is, I'm going to turn this down real quick.
Okay. Yeah, if you've got the radio on, turn it completely off.
No. It was bigger.
Oh, okay. You can turn that up for me, Mary.
From Southern Maryland. So
yeah.
My question is, my husband and I have custody of our grandson, who is now 12, and for the past 10 years we've had custody.
For the past 10 years?
Yes.
Okay. What happened to Mom and Dad?
Okay. Mom gave up child.
And your son is the...
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We moved our son to Maryland to help me out, basically, about 6 years ago. And he has a steady job, and but since then he was abused as a baby,
by
a young
whom?
Toddler.
This is your
sexually abused.
Who was your grandson or your son?
My grandson, through the mother and her boyfriend.
So she definitely lost custody. So he was sexually abused at a very young age.
Very young age. My husband and I moved from Indiana, and this is where it all happened, to Southern Maryland, job transfer.
Mm-hmm.
So we were constantly, about 4 or 5 times, constantly going back and forth from Southern Maryland to Indiana to, make sure he was okay.
Yeah, let me just see. Your son currently has custody?
No, we do.
You have custody. Okay, that's how you started. So
yes.
You're dealing with a 12-year-old who lives with you and your husband and your son, or not your son?
No, he
your son is not with you. Let me get to the behavior, because that was your question, right?
The behavior.
Yeah, what is he doing?
He is not on medication. I have been very hesitant on putting him on medication.
Okay, before you get to that, just give me a sampler of 2 things that he's doing that drive you buggy, the 2 worst things that
I'm afraid.
You're afraid of your
I'm afraid
grandson.
Of his behavior.
How has he threatened you? Is he threatening to hurt himself or to hurt you and Grandpa?
Hey, I got to interrupt this because we've got to pay some bills. 30 seconds, that's it. A very quick ad, and then Ellen will be back.
Romance. Ugh, I wish guys knew more about what we want from a relationship. Boy, I wish I knew more about what I want. Where's that ad I saw? Here it is. The Selfish Path to Romance. A serious romance guidebook. Download Chapter 1 for free at selfishromance.com and buy it at amazon.com. The Selfish Path to Romance. That is interesting.
How has he threatened you? Is he threatening to hurt himself or to hurt you and Grandpa?
He comes in my face and uses his strength and is like a force towards me and says, "You can't tell me what to do, and I'm going to do it anyhow."
Okay, so he's got a lot of anger. It's like, nobody's going to control me. I'm going to do what I want to do.
He is like a force from hell against me. And
okay, give me another description so I get the feeling of force from hell.
Well, he pushes his way through me.
Okay, and what do you say to him if he says, "You can't tell me what to do"?
Today, he wanted to go out after I told him it was time to come in. His friend was outside, and I said, "No, I gave you a time limit. It is time to come in." He knows, unfortunately, that I am not a strong person. I have a lot of disabilities.
Okay, just name your
advantage.
worst disability so I can visualize it.
Okay, I have disc disease,
Okay.
so I wear hand braces.
Mm-hmm.
So he pushes through me.
If you could just stand back for a moment, you know his behavior towards you, and I assume that
I
there's
know
some towards
when
Grandpa.
the signs happen.
What does he seem to be saying? If you could translate his aggressiveness into words, what is the overarching thing that he's saying to you and the world and to Grandpa?
I'm going to do whatever you say, and blank, blank, blank.
Meaning he's going to do whatever you say. He's going to obey you.
You cannot tell me what to do.
Okay, so partly there's some teenage or preteen stuff going on here. Listen, I know we only have 2 minutes left, so I want to give you as much information as possible.
Okay.
Because we're on radio time.
All right, I understand.
If you go to my website, drkenner.com,
Yes.
there's a book, How to Talk So Kids Will Listen and Listen So Kids Will Talk. They have a new book, How to Talk So Teens Will Listen and Listen So Kids Will Talk. I would get that book as soon as possible and read it, because when you say no to a teenager, especially
know.
at that time, there are ways to get around that, to say, I can hear how much you want to go out with your friend today, honey. Why don't you make plans for tomorrow? Now, he may just spit in your face. He may be that aggressive. If it's the case that he seems like he's incredibly defiant, totally out of your control, I would try therapy for yourself if that's available, therapy
Yes.
for your husband. See if there are alternatives. He may need to leave your house. You may not be able to manage him, sad as that is,
Yes.
because you need to be able to enjoy your life and have that as an alternative. He has
Correct.
to work his way there. There's also a fabulous older book that is by Stanton Same now, and the book is Before It's Too Late, trying to get kids before they act out and become criminals.
Yes.
So if he has a me-only world, my way or the
Before it's too
highway,
late. Okay.
and he tries to manipulate, connive, and he's very controlling, then the milder book, the first book I mentioned is the milder book. That's regular, every day.
I see number 2 book.
Yeah, but I would still read the first one, because most parents think they have an awareness that they don't have a full kettle of skills, and you want more skills for yourself. You and your husband want to arm yourselves psychologically so that it isn't a battle every single day.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
it's just me.
Listen, thank you. Oh, it's just you. Listen, thank you so much for your call. I wish we had more time. We're right at the end.
And here's a little more from Dr. Kenner.
I don't actually date a whole lot lately. Why not? Well, when I'm with a boy I like, it's hard for me to say anything cool or witty or at all. I can usually make a few vowel sounds and then I have to go away.
It's not that bad.
No, it is. I think boys are more interested in a girl who can talk.
And that's from Buffy. And I'm Dr. Ellen Kenner. My show's The Rational Basis of Happiness. And you can probably relate to that. There are times in all of our lives where we just get tongue-tied and you just want to impress the other person, or it's an interview for work, or maybe it's a boyfriend or a girlfriend that you're just meeting for the first time. And part of the problem there is that you want to impress the other person. If you want to find out what the other person is like and see if you're a match and get to know them, tell them a little bit about yourself, that's a whole different focus, because you're focused on, do I like them, not will they like me. That's a major shift in your life. If you're always going through life feeling judged, will they like me, will he like me, will she like me, am I doing the right thing, then what that does is it undermines you've already undermined your own confidence, and you experience life not as joyous, not as an adventure, not as interesting, but as a chronic test. And you never want to do that to yourself.
For more Dr. Kenner podcast, go to drkenner.com and please listen to this ad.
Here's an excerpt from The Selfish Path to Romance by psychologists Drs. Kenner and Locke.
There are books that offer particulars about dating online. However, don't be deluded into thinking that you can really know someone just from communicating through a website or email. You cannot get a complete, accurate impression of someone unless you see them face to face over a long period of time. The person you meet online may turn out to be very different from the person you meet in the flesh. There are safe ways to meet potential partners in person so that your privacy and safety are protected. Meet in a public location. Carry a cell phone. Don't give any personal information such as your address. And let friends or family know where you plan to go. If you find yourself trusting the person on this first encounter, you can set up future meetings and gradually give out more personal information.
You can download Chapter 1 for free at drkenner.com, and you can buy the book at amazon.com.